Las Vegas is one of the most popular destinations in the USA with over 40 million people visiting the city annually, but there's many people who tell me they just won't come to Las Vegas because they don't feel safe. Why? Well, because Las Vegas, in addition to being known for glitz and glamour, is also known for crime. Crime is in the city's DNA because we all know it's organized crime that really made Las Vegas what it is, with the mob starting a lot of the casinos that are here. But organized crime isn't the kind of crime I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is things you've likely heard on the news: an increase in petty crime from pickpocketing to cell phone snatching, the massive increase in homeless on and off the strip, and the all-out brawl fights that we've been seeing in casinos, which has led to some unprecedented security measures in the casinos. And today I'm on the Las Vegas Strip shooting this to get down to the facts about, is Las Vegas really safe for tourists or not? And I'm not trying to do some fear-mongering to tell you that you're gonna get murdered when you come to Las Vegas, because I clearly think Las Vegas is safe enough to visit twice a year. I like it, so I'm gonna give you some tips for you to stay safe, and also share with you some neighborhoods that you might wanna avoid on your trip to Vegas. Oh, and like any city, there's some good parts and there's some not so good parts. And so I'm gonna share with you some of the neighborhoods that you might wanna avoid because they're known for higher crime than some other parts of the city. Now, some of these neighborhoods might actually surprise you because they're in a stone's throw of some of the city's nicest casinos. The first safety area I want to talk about is traffic, and in Las Vegas, more people die as a result of auto accidents than they do of homicides. That number in 2024 was 140 people that died in automobile-related incidents. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people that are drinking and driving. They're intoxicated. People drive really fast. They do reckless driving when they're in Las Vegas, and it turns out of that 140, about a third of them last year were actually pedestrian against automobiles. So anytime you have the option to go ahead and cross the street on one of those pedestrian bridges that you see behind me, definitely take it and keep yourself away from the cars. The second area to be aware of is car break-ins. In 2024, there were over 10,000 car break-ins in Las Vegas. The way this often works is they target the people staying in hotels. A lot of people check out of hotels, but they still want to be in Vegas, and so what they do is they come to their car, they open their trunk, they put all their luggage in it, they close it, and then they go about the city. And then there were people who were in the parking garage watching you put your stuff in your trunk so they could steal it. So definitely beware of that. Hotels will absolutely hold your luggage and you can come back for it from the bell desk. If you must put your stuff in your car, then I'd recommend putting it in the trunk where people can't see it. And then I'd also recommend moving your car. Go to a different hotel, go someplace else where people who are watching you get to your car don't see you get there with all of the luggage in it. Yes, there are also people who steal cars in Las Vegas, but that number is much less than people who break into cars. Yes, there's always reports of people stealing cars from hotel valets, so definitely do beware of that. Make sure you give it to the actual hotel valet, and when they give you that ticket for your car, keep that for your dear life, because if you lose that, someone else could claim your car with it. The third crime area to be aware of is petty larceny and theft. Pickpocketing has been on the rise in Las Vegas because there's a lot of crowded things here, crowded casinos, people watching the Bellagio fountains, at the Fremont Street Experience, looking up at the dome up there. And you know what? When you're looking at those things, you're looking at the fountain, you're looking at the Fremont Street Experience, the criminals, they're looking at you, trying to figure out where's your wallet, where's your phone, and how they can help themselves to it. Guys, with your wallet, keep it in your front pocket. Keep it right here. It's harder for them to steal when it's right here. You're in a crowded area, just keep your hand right on it. Ladies, if you got a bag like this, shoulder bag, put it cross strap like this. Don't hold it in your hand, easy to grab. And also, cell phone theft is on the rise. If you've got a phone out, be careful, people might run and snatch it. By the way, those are definitely police helicopters because there's 2 police cars going by right now. The good news is that the Las Vegas Police Department working really hard here, and the hotel security, they're working really hard too. But particularly the petty theft often goes underreported, so I think the numbers that we see are pretty low because most people feel like, what are the police actually gonna do about it? I'm never gonna get that thing back. And so the numbers that we see the Las Vegas Police Department report likely don't include the reality of how big the situation actually is. The fourth area to be aware of to keep yourself safe is alcohol and drinking. And some of these are things that other people might do to you, and some of these things are things you might do to yourself. But to start, sadly, there are people in Las Vegas who will put things in other people's drinks to make them even more inebriated than they already are from the alcohol. So one, never accept a drink from somebody you don't know. know, unless it's a bartender or wait staff, never leave your drink unattended. If you need to go to the restroom, take your drink with you. If you couldn't and you had to leave it unattended, then get rid of it and get yourself a new drink. Definitely don't drink anything that tastes funny, smells funny. If for some reason you do find yourself starting to get dizzy or starting to pass out, go find a friend, go find a wait staff as soon as possible so that you don't end up passed out without any help. And in relation to things you doing to yourself, you know what? Many people come to Vegas and just ruin their vacation because they drink way too much and then they get into trouble, either trouble with the law or trouble with security or just trouble because they get super hungover the next day and they can't enjoy their trip at all. So drink in moderation so you can enjoy all of your trip. The fifth area to beware of is street food or street drink. And while there aren't really a lot of street food vendors in Las Vegas, most of the time when they tend to come out is when there's a big event, a big sporting event or other type event, concert in town. You will find a lot of carts that show up in front of that venue selling hot dogs or drinks or things like that on the street. The Las Vegas Police Department mentioned this one and put it on their list of things for tourists to be aware of, mainly because they say these vendors are not licensed for public consumption of food or drink, so you don't really know what conditions it's been refrigerated in or how clean the vendor actually is. So if you are gonna do that, make sure to use your eyes and look and make sure they're handling it in a way that you would find acceptable, so hopefully it doesn't get you sick, because nothing's gonna ruin your Las Vegas trip more than a case of the Montezuma's Revenge. And for those that don't know that idiom, Montezuma's Revenge, people in San Diego, where I grew up, use it a lot when you go down to Mexico and you eat something bad and then it's Montezuma that's getting his revenge on you because you're just on the toilet the whole time. The sixth area to be aware of is aggressive panhandling, or that's like really rude beggars. The Las Vegas Police Department actually talks about this on their website, and they say, I quote, "You're not obligated to give, be charged, or donate money to the following: street characters, performers, vendors, water distributors, CD music vendors, or club promoters, distributors. Be aware that many of these individuals are not legally permitted, licensed, screened, or certified to conduct business. If you are harassed by any of these individuals, please notify the police immediately by calling 702-828-3111. Just put that number right in there. Did I have too many ones? Maybe 3111. 311? 3111. 311. What is it? It's 3111. But by the way, why did I want to quote the Las Vegas Police Department? Because this is something I talk about often, that many people, when they come to Vegas, actually feel threatened by the showgirls or the Mickey Mouses or the people in character outfits because they take a picture with them, and then those people, they really want their money, and they'll chase you down the street to try to get you to give them a donation. As the police department said, they're not a legitimate business, so while they are out, they're trying to make a living. If you do want to take a picture with them, negotiate beforehand. The seventh thing to beware of is crimes that can happen in your hotel room.
Chris, my hotel room, what do I have to worry about?
Well, let me share with you some of the things that the Las Vegas Police Department says you should do to keep yourself safe in your hotel room. First, they say when you leave or enter your room, check the door to make sure it's locked. If the door doesn't close all the way, then what a lot of people do, the thieves by that I mean, is they'll just walk down the hallways and they try to push doors and see if any of them open. And so when you come out of your room, always check the handle and make sure the door won't open so that the thieves can't get in while you're not there to liberate themselves of your stuff. And then check to make sure that you've locked the deadbolt, they're right down here, and that you've locked this. I did not follow these instructions, but that's because I actually wanted to go ahead and lock them, and you can see that deadbolt locked just like that. All right, so that keeps you safe when you're inside the room. Now, they also say if you've got valuables, what should you do with those? Don't keep them out and about in your room, particularly cash, because cash is a favorite of something for people to steal because it's relatively untraceable. If you've got valuables, they say keep them in the safe or keep them with the front desk. Front desk probably isn't gonna take your valuables. Some people might say to hide your valuables. Where might you hide them? You know, I've heard people saying things like hide them up like with the curtains, with a clip or something like that. But don't keep anything in your hotel room that you don't expect to part with. The police department also says that you should beware of unsolicited flyers underneath your door. What happens here is that like a pretend business will put a flyer under your door to say something like, oh, call us for pizza delivery to your room. Except it turns out they don't actually deliver pizza. They just take your credit card number and you hope you're getting a pizza, but they're using it to buy themselves some first-class tickets to Tahiti. The Las Vegas Police Department also says, never give your credit card information to anybody that calls your room and asks for your credit card what happens here, people call rooms, they'll call the front desk, they'll be like, can I get connected to room 5682? And then they get connected to your room, and then they tell you, hi, this is the front desk, something wrong has happened with your check-in, can you please provide us your credit card information again, because it didn't actually run on the machine. Front desk would never do that. If they actually need your credit card information, they'll ask you to come back down to the front desk again. And finally, the Las Vegas Police Department suggests that when you're connecting to Wi-Fi, to make sure it's actually the hotel's Wi-Fi and not somebody else that is trying to masquerade as the hotel to steal your stuff. I don't know how you really know that it's the hotel's Wi-Fi. This is probably the reason why when you connect to Wi-Fi, use a VPN so that other people in the middle aren't stealing your stuff. And no, there is no VPN sponsorship in this video. Wow. So now that we know the major areas that you want to pay attention to keep yourself safe, let's talk about some of the neighborhoods that you might want to avoid. First, downtown Las Vegas. And no, not like, you don't need to avoid all of downtown. Fremont Street experience, pretty good, but like the further you get away from the Fremont Street experience, kind of like the worse it gets. And Fremont Street East, off the Fremont Street experience, pretty decent up until like the El Cortez Hotel and the Container Park. But once you drive further or walk further on that, like it gets pretty lonely. And then if you go the other direction from downtown Vegas on the other side of the Interstate 11, there's also a fairly high amount of crime in that neighborhood. This is where the Neon Museum is located, and I understand they're actually looking for a new location, I think just due to many tourists not wanting to actually venture over there. So do beware just how far away from the Fremont Street experience you venture in downtown Vegas. And now just on the other side of the I-15 is a neighborhood known as West Las Vegas. This is Vegas's highest crime neighborhood, so if there's one that you want to avoid stumbling into, it might be this one. And finally, you might want to avoid the neighborhood around the Strap, the really tall hotel that you can see from almost anywhere that advertises like $9 a night rooms. The neighborhood around that hotel is known as Naked City, and it was actually given this term by the Las Vegas police because of the crime wave in the 1980s that was there. They gave it that name to really call it out. So if you're staying at the Strat, I'd encourage you, particularly at night, not to really walk from there to the Strip, but instead take a taxi, ride share, something else. That neighborhood, not so good at night. And so now you might be thinking to yourself, Chris, what are the safest neighborhoods? Well, if you're staying on the main part of the Strip, pretty safe. The Fremont Street experience, lots of security, pretty safe on the center parts of it. Even going away from the Strip a couple blocks can get pretty shady, particularly if you get around Twain. Safest places in Vegas are the suburbs. Like almost in any big city, Henderson and Summerlin are considered two of the safest. But fellow explorers, as I said earlier, I don't let any of this deter me from coming here. You just need to be street smart when you come to Vegas. So I hope this helps you prepare for your trip so that you're not a victim of any of these crimes, because if you are, those would definitely ruin your trip. And fellow explorers, as usual, I won't say goodbye because I'll see you in the next video. If you want to see my Vegas travel tips video, you can find it right up here on the screen. Or if you want to see all of my favorite luxury hotels, you can watch that one right here. As usual, I won't say goodbye because I'll see you in the next video.